Why should a young man listen to an old guy about the best way to become a man? Because the typical teen is not yet able to see a future past the next few months. That's not a fault of character, but the fact that teens' brains have not yet physically matured. The prefrontal cortex, PFC, does not fully develop in most people until they're 24 years old. Yet, the PFC is responsible for regulating mood, attention span, impulse control, and the ability to plan ahead and understand the consequences of one's actions. In the meantime, it's up to the adults to guide them by showing them possible consequences, good and bad, of their behavior. With that in mind, here's my guide to becoming a man. 1. Learn who you are as an individual. Figuring out who you are, what you care about, what you believe in, and what you stand for is the most important and most difficult challenge of becoming a man. We're all raised with people telling us what to think, how to act, and what to say. Sometimes those people are parents, teachers, ministers, and other so-called authorities. Sometimes they are our friends and peers. Most of the time, given the choice, we seek the easiest path, the path of least resistance. We go along to get along. Sometimes that's okay, but it's those instances when you opt for a different path that can really define you as an individual. The important thing is you make those decisions for yourself, not out of spite against authority figures or because of peer pressure, or even out of fear of losing someone's affection, but out of conviction of who you are and who you want to be. 2. Stand up for yourself and your beliefs. British statesman Edmund Burke once said, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." That's one of my favorite quotes because it reminds me that it's not enough to have lofty ideals and beliefs. You sometimes have to actually get off the couch and defend those beliefs. This is especially hard when you're hanging with your friends and they all express an opinion that is the opposite of yours. Because you're outnumbered, it's easy for them to ridicule your opinion. Be strong. Defend your opinions and beliefs. If you think it's wrong to be racist but someone in your group says something racist, or sexist, or anti-Semitic, or anti-gay, then tell them you don't agree and that you don't think they should make such statements. That's how these verbal bullies are eventually defeated. More important, you'll feel proud that you took a stand. Those moments you do nothing will haunt you for a long time. 3. Avoid a physical fight, if you can. You're probably thinking, that's easy for you to say, Kareem. You're 7'1" so nobody wants to mess with you. That wasn't always true. When I was a young boy, I was bullied, and my dad was a cop, so that made it even more embarrassing. Later in life, I took up martial arts and even trained with my good friend Bruce Lee. That's why you can trust me when I say that fighting is almost always a mistake. There's a Chinese proverb that says, "The man who throws the first punch has lost the argument." That means that when an argument turns into a fight, it's because the one starting the fight realizes he isn't smart enough to win verbally, so he resorts to violence. It's always the dumbest guy who resorts to violence. What do you do if someone threatens you with violence? You walk away, even run away if necessary, even if you're pretty sure you could take him. Bad things can happen in a fight even if no one means them to. Someone can take an unexpected fall and crack his head open. Teeth can be knocked out. Facial bones can be cracked. And all the crying later about how it was an accident won't change that. So, if you're threatened, leave and tell your parents. Some people are of the belief that you should just go right after the bully, fighting him to show you're not afraid. While this works well in movies, it doesn't work as well in real life. These days, violence tends to beget violence. The bully doesn't just slink away, he returns with a baseball bat, or worse. You can still stand up for yourself without resorting to violence. That's what Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Jr., Cesar Chavez, the Buddha, and Jesus did. The only time you should fight is if there is no other recourse. You can't run, you can't talk your way out of it. If that's the case, hit first, either in the nose, sometimes the blood will discourage further fighting, or the crotch because the pain will make it hard for him to chase you. One punch and then run. 4. Play a team sport. I'm all for individual sports. As I mentioned, I did martial arts for many years and also yoga. Don't think it's a sport? Try it. But playing on a team teaches you how to interact with others, adjust to various personalities, work together as a team, be generous, and many other character-building traits. The cool part is that you don't have to join an organized team. You can just go down to the playground or open gym and play pickup basketball or volleyball. 5. Choose your friends for the right reasons. Good friends can see you through a lot of the tough parts of growing up, but bad friends can actually be the cause some of those tough parts. Don't hang out with kids just to piss off your parents or try to be something that you're not. You waste a lot of your youth that way and miss out of some meaningful friendships. 6. Fight your fear of the unknown. We all have a tendency to hate what we don't understand, whether it comes in the form of different food, different cultures, or different ideas. There was a Yale study in which researchers examined the brains of people as they were presented with proof that an opinion they held was wrong. MRIs showed that when those people immediately rejected the new evidence, their brains released an addictive chemical that made them feel good. In that way, our own bodies are actually encouraging our ignorance and fear. Fight that impulse. Becoming a man means growing, learning, and understanding, not cowering under a blanket with a handful of comforting notions. By the way, don't confuse physical bravery with intellectual bravery. It's easier to jump out of a plane, hopefully with a parachute, than it is to change your mind about an opinion. Acts of physical bravado will give you an initial rush, but exploring a new culture or examining a new idea will mature you and make you the kind of person others will be interested in. 7. Listen to advice. Whatever troubles and doubts you're facing, billions of guys before you have gone through the same thing. Your dad probably knows exactly how you feel most of the time because he can remember the same pain and anxiety. Listening to people's advice doesn't always mean taking it. You have to decide which advice is right for you. But it might be a good idea to collect some quotes from those who came before you so you can refer to them when you need to. I'm going to get you started with one of my favorites from philosopher George Santayana. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. That means that if you don't learn from the experiences of others and yourself, you will end up making the same mistakes over and over. So when someone gives you advice, don't dismiss it just because they're older than you. 8. Be politically aware. One clear difference between children and adults is an awareness of your community outside your circle of friends and family. The world is constantly changing. Whether it changes for the better or the worse depends on the actions of those willing to get involved. Kids who don't know anything about their world try to hide it by saying, "I don't really care, it doesn't affect me." But that just confirms that they wish to remain children and have adults tell them what to do and think. Part of being a man is to be informed, so you are prepared to take an active and responsible place in your society. Read newspapers, magazines, watch the news. Discuss these subjects with your friends, but always while respecting each other's opinions. 9. Mind your manners. When you're a kid being told to firmly shake hands, keep your elbows off the table, or ask guests if they'd like a drink, it all seems like a load of dumb and arbitrary rules. Some of it is. But part of becoming a man is the realization that it doesn't matter whether or not the rules of manners make sense. What matters is the effect of following these rules. People appreciate the effort and respect shown them. In turn, they will show you respect. 10. Be patient in love. Most of the information boys have about girls is wrong. Wrong, wrong. It's based on stereotypes, rumors, bad songs, shallow teen movies, and immature celebrities in personal tailspins. The worst thing you can do in looking to find a significant other is to try to change yourself into something you're not just because you think that's what girls are looking for. It doesn't work. The best way to get an idea of what's attractive to girls is to talk to them. Like a girl? Get to know her, ask her about herself, then show her you've been listening to what she says. Did she mention a book she likes? Send her an article about the book. It's low-key, non-stalkerish, and shows you care what she talks about.